Hello, today it's my pleasure to talk to Rob Nickerson, who's bringing his Latin jazz band Hermanos to the cafe in Paristown as part of Louisville Jazz Society's signature series. Nickerson and Hermanos will be playing on Sunday, January 26th at 7 p.m. I'm Glenn Crothers, and I'm on the board of the Louisville Jazz Society. And it's my pleasure to talk to Rob today and bring these great musicians to our series. So, Rob, it's great to talk to you today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. We're excited to do the concert next Sunday.
Cool. So, you're originally from Indianapolis, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what brought you to Louisville?
Graduate school. I came here to go to U of L. The year I got here, they had just started offering, actually, it was a year before, they just started offering the Master's in Jazz Studies degree. So that's what drew me to Louisville.
Right. And when you were there, were you introduced to Latin music or was already in the air for you?
Yes, I was. At U of L, the program at the time did a really good job of bringing in international students. And a lot of the students that we had in our program specifically were from Brazil. And so I think that was my biggest introduction, like my first introduction to Latin music. And it was addictive. It was immediately addictive.
Hmm.
Just the use of rhythms that I find in Latin music was just I was drawn to it immediately. And so after that, once I finished at U of L, there was a Cuban family here who was looking to start a band. So myself and a couple other guys from the program, we synced up with them and helped them fill out their band. And that was another experience, completely different experience as far as Latin music goes. And again, I've just been hooked ever since.
Great, great. So can you tell me a little bit about the origins of Hermanos? What made you put together a Latin jazz ensemble like this one?
I think at the time, a lot of us.
Well, what was the time, by the way? How long's the band been around?
So Hermanos has been together for 10 years. Actually, this month marks our like 10-year anniversary since we had our first rehearsal.
Well, I'm glad
Uh,
glad to get to celebrate it with the Louisville Jazz Society.
we're excited about it. We didn't even realize it. If for any band to be together 10 years, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. But I think a lot of us, we were just seeking something different. A lot of the jazzers in the band, like we wanted something different. A lot of the Cuban musicians at the time, they wanted to explore different music as well. And we had known each other through various salsa bands that had come through Louisville, that had come and gone through Louisville. And so it was just, we kind of were feeling and wanting the same thing at the same time. And we started reaching out to each other and making connections. And it just so happened we had just enough musicians, of the right musicians who were interested in doing a project like this. And so we got together in Winton's garage, and we started kicking around ideas. And Winton is our piano player. Started kicking around ideas and tried different music, and it just kind of took off from there.
And gelled. Mhm. Um, so Latin jazz is a big umbrella term, a lot of different styles of Latin jazz. You mentioned Cuban, you mentioned Brazilian. Could you describe Hermanos' sound?
So we used to call ourselves a Latin jazz, Hermanos Latin Jazz. But as our music evolved, um, we realized we're probably not what people think about when they think about Latin jazz. Although we have a lot of those elements in what we do, we're kind of taking it in a different direction. Whereas it's Latin jazz, but also funk and gospel and blues and rock, and we're just doing a lot of different stuff. And so over the years, as our music evolved, we just felt like Latin jazz is good for marketing, like people understand what that is,
Right.
but it's not necessarily what you're going to hear when you hear us play. We've got some songs, some repertoire that is strictly Latin jazz, traditional Latin jazz, what you think about. But then we have a lot of other songs that have elements of that, but they have elements of all the other styles that I've described. So And we just kind of went in that direction. Um, and so that's why we changed our name to Hermanos Latin Groove. Because regardless of what we are playing, what style we are playing, there's always a strong groove. There's always an undercurrent, uh, pushed by the percussion, obviously. And we think it's just kind of beyond Latin and jazz, and so we wanted to change our name to give people a better idea of what to expect when they hear us.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds like a real great coming together of different kinds of varieties of music.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. We were
well,
lucky
can
to
you tell
find.
me a little? Sorry,
No,
I
I'm just
can.
saying we were lucky to find each other,
Yeah.
and to stick around, stick with each other for a decade now.
Yeah. Well, can you tell me a little bit about the band members and what they bring to the band sound?
So I play saxophone. I'm from Indianapolis. Winton, our piano player, he's from California.
That's Wynton
Johnny,
Reynolds, who's also the president of the Jazz Society.
yes, 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 he is. He's from California. Our drummer, Johnny Castaneda, is also from California. Our conga player, Caleb, he's from El Salvador. Our guitarist, Alberto, he's from Panama. And our bassist, Yodi, he's from Cuba. So we've got generationally, like I'm kind of right in the middle. We've got some younger members, we've got some elders in the group. Um, and as far as geographically, like there's just a lot of diversity. And so we've just brought all of our own personal musical experiences um, into the band and just incorporated everything. So that is again, just leaning on those experiences and that background that everyone has, their personal backgrounds, musical backgrounds, that adds to the group. And so everyone has input. Um, there's no, none of us have, really. Winton writes a lot of the music. And then when he brings his compositions to rehearsal, the band rewrites his music. And then we get to put our name on it and get some credit for writing it. So he hates that, but we love it. So it's really a cooperative effort when we make music together. Um, but make no mistake, Winton is definitely the brain trust. He is the wizard, as I like to call him, Winton the wizard. Um, because he's just got great ideas, and when we flesh it out and work it out and develop the music, it turns into something that we all really love and enjoy. And the people who hear us play are immediately able to recognize that we're doing something different, doing something that's quality.
So on Sunday the 26th, when you guys are playing, we're going to hear some standards, some originals. What kind of mix of tunes are we going to hear?
So we'll do some originals, a lot of originals, but we'll also do standards. But we're doing some of the standards that we're doing aren't necessarily standard Latin jazz repertoire, but just jazz standards that we've uh, kind of put a twist on. So we'll do all the things you are. I think we'll open up with that one. Uh, I think we'll do a Coltrane piece, Soul Eyes, which is a ballad, but it's no longer a ballad when we play it. A Thelonious Monk tune, Well You Needn't, like there'll be songs that any avid jazz listener will be able to recognize. But the treatment that we have applied to those songs is very different from any jazz or Latin group, from what we've heard, from what we've listened to. So yeah, everything we do is fresh. Um, Everything we do again has a really strong groove, really strong backbeat, be that just a straight up, funk or rock groove, or we really lead into the clave um, that's associated with Latin music. So there'll be some standards, but a lot of originals. But most importantly, everything that we present on Sunday at the concert is an original arrangement.
Gotcha, gotcha. Sounds like much of what we'll be able to listen to is going to be hard to not get up and dance.
We welcome the dancers, please. That's the biggest compliment you can give us as a band. We're not a band that wants you to sit and listen. We're a band that wants you to sit up, stand up, and dance and just let yourself go and lean into the groove with us.
Well, I don't know if the LJS crowd is a dancing crowd, but it sounds like this is pretty propulsive stuff. So let me ask you one last question.
Absolutely,
Where'd
absolutely.
the name come from? How'd you come up with the name Hermanos?
So I think so we're one of those bands that's terrible about like coming up with a really good, cool, catchy band name. Like we're just like whatever.
I think you did okay.
Um, but it fits. Hermanos, for those who don't speak Spanish, translate to brothers. And we've become brothers over the last decade for sure. But Wynton had it was one of his earliest songs, uh, titled Hermanos. So it's that's where we kind of, just being lazy musicians, we were like, well, that kind of works. Let's just, let's take the title of this song and apply it to the band, and great, we got a band name, and let's go on to the next thing. So
And a decade later,
it
you
was
still
kind
got
of
a
a
band
very
name.
lazy effort. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of thought put into it, but it worked, and so here we are.
Good, good. Well, we're really looking forward to the Hermano show next Sunday. It sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Um, so remember, Hermanos will be playing at the cafe on Sunday, January 26th at 7 p.m. It's the first Louisville Jazz Society signature show series show of 2025. As usual, get your tickets online through the LJS website and get them early. We've been having good crowds for the signature series. Thanks again, Rob, for talking to me this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Glenn. I really appreciate it.